Alright, last video.
Okay. So, even if you consider that all my recent job experience is food service, and you consider the fact that, let's say that the job experience or the food service job experience point is irrelevant. Let's say I just learned to pretend to play the interview game, right? So, even if you take those two things into consideration, the fact that I'm still so easily influenced by other people's opinions, even though I don't want to be, complicates everything. That, totally screws everything up. Because literally right now, I made my decision that I am going to work 5 days a week at Jimmy John's until my birthday and reevaluate that. Right? That is a decision I want to make. I don't even want to talk to anybody because they might try to convince me out of it.
Yeah.
So,
hold on. This cat is snuggling the computer again. Who's a kitty cat? Okay.
So anybody who doesn't back me in that decision, or who I think might, ask me questions as to why I'm actually deciding that, I don't even want to talk to, because I'm so afraid that the points they make will be so good that this literally 2 to 3 week dilemma I've had of what I want to do will just completely be swayed within 2 seconds.
Right.
And perhaps out of all those things, that is the point that scares me the most. That I can't even stand behind what I really want to do. Where it's like, wow. Where I think, wow, that's actually a really good point. Maybe I should do that. Oh, that's a really good point. Maybe I should do that. Wow, that's a really good point. And by the time all that happens, I don't even remember what I want to do. And, that is probably the part of the whole thing that scares me the most, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
It's that I can't stand on my own 2 feet with an opinion and a decision. That is really scary for me. And that... But then there was this coworker that had a birthday party thing at a place, at a karaoke, that I went to after work, right? And it was horrifying, and it was fun, once most of the people left, but when lots of people were there, it wasn't that fun, and it was very confusing because no one was paying attention to the karaoke, and I thought that was the point of karaoke, but apparently it's not, so, okay, so the whole thing was confusing, but then, I exchanged numbers with some of the people afterwards, right? So now I'm okay, to me, this decision to...
Okay. This is not okay!
So close.
I don't know what to do there.
I don't either. Oh wait, I haven't been there, so I
don't know.
So, to me, if I'm going to start establishing a social life, that's even more reason to stay put where I am, because the day after this happened, right, my boss talked to me. So I was like, oh shit, no, my boss is going to talk to me. And so he said, look, I heard about what happened yesterday. And literally the first thing out of my mouth before I can even stop myself is, I know that's inappropriate behavior for the work environment.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole, what are you thinking? And he's like, no, it's okay.
Cat, keep going,
He was like, no, it's okay. I just need to figure out, where you're coming from, because I know 5 days of work is a big deal for you. It's a big next step in the next direction, right? It's a big step for you. But I just want to make sure you're okay, and if you know it's coming and you're not going to be okay, send me a text so that way I can figure out how to cover for you. And just let me know, hey, not today. And what other job are you going to get that at?
Yeah. That's
Realistically speaking.
Yeah, that's really
Where
nice.
else are you going to get that? Like, certainly not McDonald's,
No.
right?
Well, you didn't.
I didn't. Why did I?
It's not a hypothetical, it's a known fact. You did not get that kind of support there.
No. Because when did I find out that there was free therapy services through the McDonald's? The day I quit.
Mm-hmm.
Was the day I found out that you could actually get, like, free therapy from, like, some thing, right? When did I find out I could get a 401k, like, a year plus after I was eligible for it? Like, you know, like, they treated their employees horribly. And then as I was driving around this week, this is really nice that I brought that up, because I actually had a realization moment.
Mm.
And I was like, so I don't know how much Dr. Phil you watch.
No,
Not a lot. But, like, whether or not you agree with Dr. Phil, just hear me out for a moment, right? So, when Dr. Phil does these, like, family shows about these troubled teens or whatever, about how they're, like, partying and all this shit, right?
Yeah.
Right? He says to the parents sometimes that they're part of the problem, too.
Mm-hmm.
He says, if I take this teen and set them up and, you know, like, and help them, but the environment they come back into doesn't change,
It's just gonna happen again.
it's just going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I was driving around and I was like, McDonald's,
Mm-hmm.
right? I went off for 2 months. You know, I went off for 2 months. I got in a better mental place. And I came back with the doctor's note, and the first thing they said to me is, you need to negotiate your doctor's note.
That's not cool.
Yeah. And I basically went back. I may have changed. I may have grown. But I went back to the same environment that was a piece of crap to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So the results that happened shouldn't be surprising.
Yeah.
You know?
And you shouldn't blame yourself for it either.
But
As you throw yourself into a pit.
But, like, I guess I'm still... Like, maybe I did let it destroy me, though.
Letting someone else do something to you is, like, not a thing.
Right.
Like, did we let ourselves be misled by the TA? No, we're supposed to believe the TA, you know? We're
Right.
supposed to believe his advice. Otherwise, there's no point to him.
Right.
Like, a very, common thread with, oh, shit. I saw it coming and it was too late. A very common thread with, depression and, self-worth issues is berating yourself for things that technically you had no control over. And thinking, oh, I should have been smarter, oh, I should have seen it coming, oh, X, Y, and Z. Like, I even said it with the TA, we should have seen it coming.
Right.
But, no. People are terrible, and it's their fault that they're terrible.
But isn't there some ownership, like, I need to take in the fact that, like, I didn't take better care of myself while I was there?
Well, how were you supposed to when they told you, literally, when you showed up with, like, instructions from the doctor and they said, that's not gonna work. You can't do that.
And when I tried to enact the doctor's note, they were like, I don't know, maybe, maybe not.
Like, what were you
And then
supposed to do?
And then I said, I have a doctor's note, figure it out. And then it was like...
They didn't want to tell you about what to do. Oh god.
I'm here. Oh my god. I don't think I've gotten this far.
I'm gonna shut up for a little bit.
Wait,
I think it despawned.
Okay, cool. I'm down with that.
Maybe.
Okay, I definitely have not been this far.
There's gonna be Hammer Guy.
Okay. Okay. Hammer Guy, Bullet Bill. Okay.
And the floaty blocks despawn there. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Gotta love glitches.
Okay. What's next?
Fire and wigglers below, and
Okay.
chompy guys. If you stand on top of that pipe, you'll probably be okay.
Okay.
I bounced off the wiggler to get to the next part. You just have to be
Oh.
careful of the fire. Okay. Now there's
Okay.
going to be Hammer Bro. Ah. That was
I
disappointing.
I'm pretty sure that's the farthest I've gotten.
That was disappointing. I was so ready for you to beat it.
That's easy. That's the farthest I've gotten, right?
That was really great. And I helped!
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the point is, like, you tried to take care of yourself, and they wouldn't let you, so I don't think you should think about it like, I should have done more. You tried to do something, and they wouldn't let you.
Right.
What are you supposed to do in that situation,
and
other than...
And even when I said, like, okay, between when I came back from Peru and when I ended up in the hospital, right? I even said to them, like, you know, like, hey, this job's, you know, isn't there anything I can do more? You know?
Mhm.
Like, and I even said it, like, in that little period of time between when I quit and when I got out of the hospital, where they said something, and I was like, come on, isn't there something else I can do? Like, I looked at the managers, I looked at the GM, I looked at the assistant GM, and I said to them, I said, you guys both know I'm too smart for this job. And in what company do you have someone with so much intelligence and talent, and you just don't do anything with it? You know? Like, just because I'm not quite as fast as other people and I don't emotionally balance as well, like, that's grounds for me not trying to do more? Like, I don't quite follow that logic. Like, the fact that it was like...
No! We're okay.
I think, as I look back, I think the fact that what infuriates me is that they didn't do more with what I brought to the table just because they looked at some checklist of crew trainer and said, oh, right, so you're not fast enough. You know, you're not fast enough, you're not, you know, you don't handle your emotions really well, you get overwhelmed really easily, and you don't have training in these areas. Like, because you didn't ask.
No!
Oh my god, everything's gone!
No! I...
The Wiggler was gone!
I-
The throwing is gone!
I tried. I was too surprised that everything was gone.
And then, the bullet.
Yeah. So, I don't know. My heart's racing.
Yeah. But, like, that's the thing, like, I have such a good setup right now at Jimmy John's,
Mhm.
right? And yes, it's not where I thought I'd be back in college by this point. It's,
Hey,
you know,
plans...
at least I'm out of McDonald's. I said I didn't want to be at McDonald's by the time I'm 30, and yeah, it was kind of sketchy how I ended up getting out, but at least that part
At least
came
you're
true.
out.
Right. But now I don't want to talk to anyone about any of that until my birthday, because I don't want to be convinced out of my decision.
That's fair
And
enough.
maybe once I go see my shrink, maybe that's something I can talk with her about.
Yeah.
But the bad thing is I want to talk to people, but I know they're... Ugh.
It's okay. It's okay. That kind of, wheeze, connects to something, like, I had an epiphany, too, about something that was causing me anxiety, and it kind of connects that, so, like, whenever someone asks, like, I say, oh, I don't really like this thing, and it could be, like, something silly as, like, a kind of food. I don't really like this food. And I would be petrified anytime someone asked in response, why? And I didn't really understand why I was getting so anxious about this.
Yeah.
And, like, it got to the point where I would just say, oh, I don't know, just because, like, I didn't want to give any reasons. And I was thinking about it, and it happened with a friend asked, like, why I didn't like this one. I said I didn't like this one place, and he asked why, and, like, my instinct was to, like, panic and, like, shut down Instant Messenger and then run away and that kind of thing, which is silly.
Right.
But I kind of waited and stopped myself, and it's like, why am I freaking out about this? And I kind of had an epiphany that, like, it kind of ties back to something my sister did, where if I ever answered with reasons why I didn't like something, she would take those as debate topics and disprove every single one, so I'm wrong about my opinion, and I should change my mind, and she's always right. So I would get petrified that people would do that, would tell me that my reasons for liking or disliking something were wrong, and try to debate me with them, and it's just so exhausting, because, you know, sometimes you just don't like something.
Oh my god, that was kind of creepy, not gonna lie.
See, this is why I like you.
This is why I like you too.
We get each other. Like, sometimes you just don't like things, and there may be, like, technically reasons you can list, but it's not something that's going to change. Like,
Right.
I don't like the taste of this, and, like, people will go, oh, have you tried it with butter, or something?
Yes!
And I'm like, no, I don't care, I don't like the taste of it, leave me alone.
My thing is rice. I don't like rice.
I can see why.
Just for whatever reason, in whatever form it's in, like, it's just too grainy for me.
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
can
sorry.
see it.
It's,
No.
like, I could eat a little bit of it, maybe, but I can't eat, like, a full portion.
Whenever
Like,
people start arguing about, like, best video games or whatever, I usually make jokes about people like different things? What?
I
What?
no way.
But, like, after I had that realization, and, like, I responded to the friend saying, oh, I don't like it because of X, Y, and Z, you know, slightly, at least the springboard's over there.
Yeah, that's good. Good progress.
And, like, I responded with, like, why I didn't like it, and he replied, oh, I can see why that you wouldn't like it. Like, he was just curious about the reasons,
Right.
not that he wanted to debate it. And there are going to be people who want to debate it. That's not the point, that no one cares about that.
Right.
But I had a moment where I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and not panic over this kind of thing. And take a bullet bill to the face. And give my reasons for things, because they're my reasons. And
Right.
if someone tells me my reasons are wrong, they're wrong. Because screw them. They're my reasons,
Right.
and they're completely valid, so fuck you. So that's what I'm gonna try and do.
With certain things, yes, but the fact that, like, the fact that I'm very good at seeing through my own bullshit kind of, like, I see what you're saying, but it kind of doesn't help me sometimes, because then it's
Yeah.
like, well, what if the logical conclusions I'm coming to aren't logical either?
Yeah, that is the problem with, like, when we try to make decisions based on things, and it's like, am I looking at a normal mirror or a funhouse mirror? I cannot tell, because this is the mirror I use every day.
Right.
And usually I ask, like, a friend like you or Bodhi about, am I doing this wrong? Is this as logical as I think it is, or is it as illogical as I think it is? This was more of the very specific context of likes and dislikes, and being really terrified of people saying, you're wrong. You should change your opinion because you're wrong.
Right.
And
that's,
like,
I
I
think-
was just terrified of that.
And, like, with you in, like, a smaller context of food or maybe a restaurant, like, this is, like, the bigger context I'm dealing of, like, because, like, that's a huge life
Yeah.
decision to make, whether to stay at your job or you want to change jobs. Like,
Yeah,
that's
that is important. I just wanted to share that because I was like, I have an epiphany and I'm going to try and work on it. We'll see how it goes.
right. But, like, that's important shit to, you know, figure out. Like, not saying, like, you know, like, but I think you can use the same kind of reasoning behind it, though, of, like, you know, at the end of the day, and I was actually
Ultimately,
even,
it's your
back-
decision,
right.
you know.
I was emailing back and forth with a friend about this, and like he was like, well, have you tried a temp agency, which is what people have suggested to me before? And I was like, well, I went there and it wasn't a great experience. And he's like, you know, I said because they've kind of brought up like an attendance point, and that was like right after I had quit McDonald's. So then I have to bring up like the attendance point at McDonald's. And he sent back, well, have you had perfect attendance at Jimmy John's? And I was like, okay, this is where we cut this conversation off because I'm not going down this line. And I just sent back to him. I said something along the lines of, look, you know, like I've made my decision to stick with this, and maybe it's not the right decision, or it puts me a little bit behind everyone else, but
it's still your decision.
At some point, I have to make a decision.
Yeah, you can ask advice of everyone in the world, but ultimately, you have to decide what is best for you.
Right. And I'm really bad at deciding. I've never had to really make decisions before.
This is
just
terrible.
Where did the go?
It despawned.
Oh, fun. Okay. But, you know, like, every decision, almost every major life decision I've ever made has kind of happened on accident. Like, even, like, getting this job was kind of an accident. One day I visited my aunt. My aunt was like, hey, we need drivers. You're unemployed. You want to try to work?
But you still decided to take the job. You could have decided, nah, I don't want to. So maybe, like, there's, like, good coincidences that led up to allowing you to make this decision. But ultimately, you still decided.
Oh, man. Good point. Touche. I never thought of it like that, but...
Like,
maybe
you could have said, no, I don't
time.
want this job, and gone down a different path. Like, yeah, sometimes there has to be really good circumstances, chain of events for things to happen, and
but
maybe...
they always end up bad! They always end up bad. Peru ended up bad. The internship ended up bad. Broadcasting school, which seemed like a fantastic idea at the time, ended up bad. McDonald's ended up bad.
I wouldn't say Jimmy John's is bad yet.
But it is.
Is it? Aw, come on.
But if it gets there, then that's another decision I made that wasn't a good one.
Well, you can't know. Like, you can't know that it'll be bad.
But everything else has turned out bad.
Like, I know you're wrong, but...
And the funny thing is I know I'm wrong, too. That's the problem. And this is the problem why I can't stand by it, because I know I'm wrong.
I love that you can kick the Wiggler while you're dying.
Oh, I did? Cool.
Yeah. It happened twice while we were recording.
Oh.
Once to me and then once to you. Like, okay, so maybe everything ended up bad, but, like, think about it that in, like, really bad statistics, that, you know, flipping a coin, ideally you'll have half good, half bad.
Right.
But it is still possible for a random chance to happen that you get all tails.
Yeah.
And it's nothing that you did. You tried to flip the coin, and shit happened.
Yeah.
I just don't really feel like the decisions with the amount of information that you had at the time were bad. That's
I'll have to think through incident by incident in that one, which obviously I can't get into now.
No.
I'll do that time, but
I'm just saying, like, there's no way to know the future. Like, okay, so with my advisor that dropped me, technically you could say that's a bad decision to work with him, but at the time, I didn't know that he was going to be a shithead. Right. Taking advice from the TA, we didn't know he was going to be a shithead too. Like, at the time, it seemed like the good thing to do.
Hindsight 2020 shit?
Yeah, and all you can do is what you think is best in the moment. And I'm saying this to you because I can't say it to me.
Yeah, I know.
Because,
I
like...
know.
I'll berate myself, like, why did I think I could program this piece of shit? And everything is ruined, and I should have known that this would have been terrible. You know? But at the time, how should I have known that this was going to be so horrible? Like, I could have, like, done more research on the subject before we had committed to it. I could have picked a different group. I could have done a lot of things, but at the time, I made the decision based on what I knew.
Right.
I'm very good at coding. These people are hard-working group, and I don't hate them, and I actually trust them to do the work. So here we go. So it ended up Tails for a little bit. And we'll see if it ended up Tails for the whole thing. We'll see. Oh, damn it. I'm gonna die.
Are you still happy you moved down to Florida?
Oh yes. Oh yes. We're at 26 minutes. Do you want to do another video or want to stop?
Right, you don't need to grind for lives because once again, we don't need to.
We got 26 lives. Let's just go for another video.
Yeah.
Oh,
There, I paused it. I pressed B.
This is usually why I wait until it's my turn. Just in case. Because I could set down the controller. We'll be right back.
Okay.